Hey, what's up everybody? It's Lids and we're back for some more Mardek, and today we are going to say hello to this thing. But before we do that, let's take a quick peek back over here at Gope, and how the heck did he get over here? We're in the middle of the Miasmal Citadel. Even I don't know how I ended up in here, but there's a bloody grey monster over there. I wet myself when I saw it, almost, I swear. Biggest, wildest beastie I ever seen. Want to see me wares, friend? Yeah, so, I mean, of course we could proceed to sell things to you here, but I think we're probably fine in that regard. But, yeah, Gope just reaffirming that this, whatever it is perhaps not terribly friendly. So, before we head over there and say hello, just wanted to take a moment to talk about what we might want to do in case this thing wants to pick a fight with us. So we have Mardek, Gloria, Solar, and Eloine in our party right now, and if we were to just take a minute to talk about what role each one of these people will play in this party here, it would be that Mardek is probably going to be our physical attacker first and foremost. He, of course, is a bit of a hybrid between a physical attacker and a support character, but if we are, say, to put the yellow fairy on him, giving him haste, then hopefully that means that we can spend one of our 2 turns doing any healing and status removing that we might need to do, and then spend our other turn using physical attacks, or more of one, more of the other, depending on what the situation is. So I think that's a nice combination, some nice flexibility to have for Mardek. Then Gloria will be a combination of a defensive character, applying the various nulls to the rest of the party, and also our primary spell damage dealer, but with her ability to cast fire, water, air, and earth elemental spells. Then Solar will be a little bit of a middle ground between a spellcaster, being able to use light elemental spells, and that's not something that Gloria could do. Perhaps a little bit with physical attacks, although Solar doesn't have a terribly strong weapon at the moment, what with it just having 34 base attack, which is, I believe, the lowest of anyone we have in the party right now. However, Solar, and Gloria as well, have the ability to heal, and Solar can also use the Spiritcraft ability, which is a nice thing to have in combination with Eloine, because Eloine will be our other, more dedicated and rather unique support character, and that she, of course, will be able to use her songs to boost our defenses, either physical or magical, or our offense, physical, magical, or do any of a number of other things that might help us out. And when she has her spirit boosted using Solar's Spiritcraft ability, then those songs become increasingly powerful. So, that is the general role that I'm expecting each person to play here. Then let's take a quick look at our party resistances, because you'll notice that this might be a little bit different than the setup that we would normally find. We have perhaps higher ether resistance than maybe ever before, and I have said many times in the past that maybe ether is a little bit rare in terms of the number of enemies that deal that type of damage to us, but there are a few occasions on which it is meaningful to stack as much ether resistance as possible. This is one of those times. So, for that reason, we've done things like put on the Mithril Plate Mail on Mardek, because that gives us a little bit of ether resistance, in addition to, of course, giving us very high physical defense and a little bit of magical defense as well. We have used the Night Jacket for most people when we are trying to maximize resistances. However, that does not give any ether resistance, so we'll put this on Eloine, but we'll want to make sure that she has her passive skill for ether resistance equipped, which I believe she does right now, and also, I believe Eloine is the only person who has a physical defensive reaction for ether resistance, so this is tempting. However, so is being able to evade 70% of attacks and survive with 1 HP when Eloine would otherwise go down. But I think we'll go with all the evasion and survivor at the moment, and then with our little bit of remaining RP, we'll mitigate a little bit of damage. Then for other people, we have Solar, of course, has the ability to assume their astral form, in which they will heal to ether damage, so that will work out well in that regard. Then that does lower Solar's dark and light resistances, so for that reason, we're using things like the Eclipse Amulet and Solar's Star Charm, their arena reward, to boost their light and dark resistances further, and going with the Green Stole here just to maximize life, and also put on a bunch of life passive abilities with Solar Vitality and plus 10 and 20% HP, so they're at 2,600 is actually the most in the party at the moment, so in some ways, Solar, this is your rare opportunity to be the tankiest member of the party, so that'll be interesting. Then Gloria, in some regards, you are drawing the short stick in that you are stuck with just the Astral Wanderer's Garb, which does give 20% ether resistance. That is largely the reason why I'm putting this on you right now. But you don't get the Night Jacket, which of course is nice for other resistances, so perhaps we make it up to you by giving you the Scarab of Health for some regen and higher vitality and decent defenses. That leaves us with what is maybe not the highest in terms of total resistances that we could get on this party here, though we are making a point of choosing Ether over other types of resistances. So, that is the general setup here. Let's drop a quick save, just in case we find ourselves in trouble here. And then, we will head on over and see what is in store when we poke Annihilator KARNOS. Uh-oh. Yeah, so, in case you were wondering, this is the strongest enemy we've fought thus far. What the heck is this, you ask? Vids, what am I looking at? Well, the answer is, I don't know. The developer doesn't even know. In fact, way back when they were developing Mardek 3 on their forums, they made some art of what eventually became Annihilator KARNOS, and they said, I have no idea what this is, but I like it, and let's find a way to put it in the game, and alas, here it is. So, technically speaking, it is an aberration, which I suppose is fitting, and this is our first super boss. So, as for what we do, it does go after Eloise here. It does have haste, and in terms of what type of damage you want to deal to it, it is currently healing to fire damage, weak to water, very resistant to air, a little bit resistant to earth, and heals to ether. Okay, so not only will this be one of the highest HP enemies we fought, and the most difficult enemy we fought, it will also be one of the most mechanically complex enemies that we fought thus far. So this will not be a straightforward fight. As for what we start off with here, I'm thinking Elwian, we probably want to go with something defensive. As for whether we want to go with a magic defense or a physical defense, not entirely sure. How does this Annihilator KARNOS stack up in terms of Spirit? 40 relative to attack and strength, 50 and 40. Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty similar in the magic damage we're taking from physical and magic attacks, so let's go with maybe physical defenses here with Solid Sonata. It does go next, and then it turns on Rainbow Guard, and what does that mean? It means it has no absolutely everything, and I mean everything, even Fig. Okay, so Solar, as for what we want to do with you, so if we take a look at your resistances here, yes, we have gotten you up to 100% light and dark resistance, which is nice, but not that versatile. So I'm thinking we do assume your astral form here is a little bit of a risk, because although it will boost many of your resistances, it will drop your light and dark resistance down to precisely 0. But I'm thinking that being able to heal to ether damage should be quite useful, in addition to having a little bit more resistances to fire, water, air, and earth. Then Gloria. I think your job here is to throw on as many nulls as you possibly can, and Annihilator KARNOS is fire elemental, so let's say throw on the null fires. Perhaps that is an indication we are going to be more likely to take fire damage here. And then Mardek takes 2 turns, and then KARNOS goes after Mardek, so we could perhaps start throwing on physical and magical shields. And I will do this once, however, you'll see that perhaps this is not the best idea here, so don't do this. Don't do this. In fact, I'm going to throw it on Mardek, even though that's perhaps not the person who's most in need of it. And then with our second attack here, maybe we just use a default attack with Mardek and remove the null light that KARNOS has on at the moment. Otherwise, we could use any of these slashes here to set up some other type of element. At the moment, KARNOS, you are weakest to water, so perhaps using a water slash, although it wouldn't deal any damage at the moment, would set us up for future water damage. That might not be a bad idea, otherwise we could, say, put on some regens for people. On the assumption this will be a long and difficult fight that might be worthwhile, let's try going that route. Okay, and it does attack. and it was Blood Claw, which we have seen some other enemies use. It was a Dark Elemental attack, and there you have the 70% evasion from Eloine paying off, and Eloine does go next. However, Karnos goes immediately afterwards, so we could probably pass here, I'm thinking we do, and just keep on playing Solid Sonata so that we are taking less damage from physical attacks. And this time it uses Raging Inferno, so that is the big fire spell that hits everyone in the party. Same spell that we saw the Fire Guardian use and Legion subsequently learn. So this would be one other place in which Legion could learn that, but this is one of those situations where I'd say, at this point in time, it's perhaps too little too late, so of course we also don't have Legion in our party right now. Solar, you have assumed astral form. Now I'm thinking what you do is you start to Spirit Craft Eloine, and further her Spirit, so that way we take even less damage from physical attacks, and +3 Spirit is certainly on the low end. Remember, it goes from either at the lowest end, +2, or at the highest end, +8 per Spirit Craft. So, did we remove any of those nulls last time? We did not. So that means that whatever we choose to do here with Gloria is definitely not going to deal damage. Would we like to say, throw on a Bark Skin to further increase people's physical defense? I think that might not be a bad idea. Let's go for that. Bark Skin on Eloine is theoretically the person who might be most vulnerable here. Mardek, more people who might need regen, so Gloria has the Scarab of Health. She doesn't need it. We put it on you on your previous turn. Let's use it on Eloine here, and then maybe next time we'll put it on Solar as well. So let's do that here. Remember, Mardek has haste, so he's going twice. And then I believe Karnos goes next, and it is shifting elements. So it was fire, now it is dark. So you may have noticed me saying that I was phrasing it as, at the moment, Karnos is fire elemental. At the moment, we are expecting to take fire damage. That is one of the reasons why this will be one of the most mechanically difficult fights, because Karnos will change elements randomly, and their resistances will change in accordance to that. And that also means that the type of damage that they will deal will oftentimes change in accordance to that as well. So right now, we want to deal light damage. We want to make sure that we have morality blocks on from Mardek so that we are not taking dark elemental damage. However, I think we will find that Karnos does go next. So Eloine, sure, you can keep on using Solid Sonata here, but if Annihilator Karnos uses a dark ability on its next turn, we will not be able to have a null dark to stop this from damaging everyone. And dark damage, how bad is it? We did heal in some cases. I believe Eloine has the Night Jacket, so she's doing fine. Mardek has 70% resistance and also has the Magic Dark reaction, so he healed as well. Gloria took a little bit of damage. Solar did as well. So those are two of the types of elemental damage that Annihilator Karnos is most likely to use, either Dark or Ether, and they might be the only elements that Karnos can deal damage from regardless of what form it currently is taking. So obviously it's Dark Elemental now, so we are definitely expecting for it to deal dark damage, but even when it is not in its dark form, it might still deal dark damage, and can always deal other damage as well. That's why Solar, assuming astral form, was perhaps helpful as long as we made a point of making sure that we weren't at negative 100 dark resistance. But anyways, for right now, I think we go back to Spirit Crafting Eloine, and we do have a lot of people who are... Is that curse or blind? And that is both in some cases, which is concerning. I think, actually, tell you what, let's Purify. That will remove, I believe it's all statuses? Yeah, all negative status effects from one character. Let's do that on Gloria, because Gloria has Mass Cleanse. We can remove statuses from everyone. So then we do this, and this might be the most valuable Mass Cleanse we've ever had thus far. Removing a status from just about everyone other than Gloria, because of course we had Solar do that. Mardek, you're next. And I think, what with Karnos being in its dark form right now, we definitely do want to put on a morality block, and perhaps we should have prioritized that earlier. Fortunately, with the dark resistance that we have at the moment, maybe it's not a humongous concern right now, but we are, of course, focusing mostly on the defenses at the moment, and the reason for that is because if we can boost Eloine's spirit to the point where she gets close to 100 spirit, then we will take no damage of, whether it's Solid Sonata, that would mean physical damage, or if it's Runic Rhapsody, then we wouldn't take any spell damage. And then at that point, things become much easier, at least with regard to not getting taken out. Then we can focus more on dealing damages. So, for the most part, we are biding our time trying to make sure we stay alive until we have high enough defenses that we are no longer at as great of a risk. So, Mardek, you did use Morality Block. Theoretically, Solar could perhaps use a small heal here. That might be a little bit overkill because, of course, they do have regen. I'm thinking instead, maybe we remove your Null Light. One of these attacks here, so it will deal no damage, of course. That means that, well, you're shifting back to fire this time, it appears. So we probably do want to just remove as many nulls as possible so that way we can be flexible regardless of what type of element Karnos shifts to. We're capable of dealing that damage immediately. Otherwise, as you saw there, we might try to remove the null, and then as soon as we do that, Karnos shifts elements again, and suddenly the type of null that we removed doesn't matter anymore. So, Halloween, I think you are fine for the moment. Just stick with what you're doing. And here he is, a Raging Inferno. We do not have Null Fire on at the moment, so this could be problematic. Let's see. We, of course, have Solid Sonata, not Runic Rhapsody, so we are prioritizing reducing the amount of damage we're taking from physical attacks when maybe it is preferable to focus on reducing damage from the spells. So Lara is getting rather low at the moment, which is a little bit concerning. I think, however, let's just take a look at the turn order here. I think Solar, let's have you continue to Spirit Craft, because you're the only person who can do that. Then we'll have probably Gloria be the person to heal the whole party here with an Earth Heal. Let's go that route. That should get people pretty close to, if not all the way at full HP. Solar did not get a great number there, so they are definitely not at full HP. Mardek, you could remove another null here as more of an offensive move, or you could make sure that Solar's back up at full HP. Other things you could do, maybe even consider using an item of some variety here. Not sure we have much that would make a huge difference. We could throw on a speed juice for someone else, give someone else haste, or a power drink to boost more strength further. Might not be a bad idea, but I think let's heal. Let's play it safe to start out, because I think that for the most part, this is the most dangerous part. When we do not have Eloine fully powered up, and we don't have as many nulls on at the moment. So now that we have healed Solar, now let's remove some kind of null. And your guess is as good as mine as to which one is most likely to be relevant with Karnos' next elemental shift, because I think we're about to see one here. So, I don't know, let's try a Water Slash, I guess. So we'll of course null that. We're just trying to remove as many of those as possible. There is the Blood Claw. So that is one of those dark elemental attacks that it can do that even when it's in its fire elemental form. So that is why boosting the dark resistance and having those morality blocks on as often as possible is important. And I'm thinking, although that was a physical attack there, I think we prioritized dark resistance and ether resistance, whereas I think that the other elements, like fire when it's in fire form or whatever other forms might take, those are always going to be spells, and we don't necessarily have as good resistances to those things, so we might actually prefer going Runic Rhapsody, the spell defense. And it's, yeah, here's a Raging Inferno, perhaps just in time for this. See how much of a difference it makes. Missed several people, and look at that, Solar only took about 400 damage, so they will regen on their turn, and after that, oh, did they? Or did we not put on, oh, we did not put on regen. For Solar yet, what am I saying? Mardek, perhaps you ought to do that next time around? You only put on regen on yourself and Gloria? No, Mardek doesn't have regen in either. Okay. Thought we put it on other people. Apparently not. So, in that case, Solar, I don't think this is all that desperate at the moment. Let's further boost Eloine, because we saw that, yes, it does seem as though already her defensive songs are making quite a difference. So, now for Gloria, in theory, Whirlpool would be best right now in terms of offense, and I believe we did just have Mardek remove the null water. Yes, so we could deal damage here. That's it's tempting, but I think we do want to prioritize putting on the nulls. And of course, it is a guessing game here as well, trying to predict what type of element Karnos might shift to. But at the very least, we can expect at some point in time it will shift to water elemental, and at that point in time, we will be thankful that we have the null water on. And of course, it is most relevant in the early stages here, as we're still waiting for Elohim to power up. So, for that reason, I mean, we could do a Water Slash here with Mardek, or start applying those regens that I thought we put on previously, but apparently I was wrong. So Solar, you could use one. I don't think that Annihilater KARNOS had anything that actually removes those regens. Pretty sure that's not the case. Then Mardek, you might be the most relevant one after that, because Gloria starts out with regen. And here it is, a physical attack. That is concerning, because the only way to increase your physical resistance is, of course, using the Steel Stole, and we did not put that on anyone. So that would be a solid Sonata type of scenario if we were to switch back to this. But I think, of course, you can't have both, and I do think I still prioritize using Runic Rhapsody, so let's keep on using that. And of course, KARNOS is tempting me to switch back over, but fortunately that was a Dark attack, and therefore we did get that nulled. I do think Solar has also lost their null Dark, if I'm not mistaken, so Mardek, you probably should use Morality Block next time round. So let's keep on Spirit Crafting here. Elohim with 6 more Spirit, that should certainly help. And Gloria, this time round, we could put on Bark Skin for more people that would further boost their defenses. We'd put that on just Elohim here. Maybe that is worthwhile. That would be one way of resisting the physical attacks a little bit indirectly, but boosting our defense a little bit more. Then, here, Mardek, I think we definitely do use Morality Block, like we were saying, and probably do need to apply it to everyone because both Gloria and Solar need it, so this way we can do it all in one turn. Could have saved some MP if we did it one at a time. Actually, no, it still would have cost the same amount of MP. So yeah, let's do it here, in this way, and then that means on your next turn, Mardek, you can either apply another regen to somebody, and in that case, who would we go for? Probably, I'm thinking Solar? Yeah, let's do that. Just verify, does Solar have... No, Solar does have regen, okay. We probably did that one last time. I'm losing track of the regens, okay? Elohim, you definitely don't have it. Now I think everyone does. And you are using another Raging Inferno. Wow, I was expecting you to shift elements more frequently than this. And so we will see 500 damage to Solar. That's not something I like to see, but fortunately Solar does, of course, have the regen now, which means they will get some of that HP back. So, still, not that bad. It's a little concerning, though, to see that the damage actually seemed to have gone up, even though Elohim's Spirit should be a fair bit higher than it was last time we got hit by those, so maybe we just got lucky with the previous go-round and got the low end of the roll, and this time we got unlucky and got the high end of the roll. So, Elohim, I think you keep on doing what you're doing here. Now, physical attack, and that gets nulled as well. So, Solar, you keep on Spirit Crafting. Elohim should be above 50 Spirit now. So Gloria's next, and I'm thinking with you, let's continue to throw on the Bark Skins, because this is the only way to further boost our physical defenses besides using a physical shield with Mardek. And who is most in need of that? Solar is 100% resistant to physical damage, which means that some of the attacks Solar will take precisely 0 damage to, but those dark attacks, they will hurt. They will hurt. So maybe we throw this on Solar, and what does a Bark Skin Spirit look like? Oh, it's just a little bit greener. Okay, then Mardek. You could use a Morality Block on yourself, so I think we do that here. You're the only one, I think, who has lost your Null Dark. Then after that, I'm thinking maybe we try to actually deal some damage right about now. Let's go this way here. And it is a reasonable amount at that, because it is, of course, Fire Elemental. And here comes a Raging Inferno, and when it's Fire Elemental, it takes extra water damage. How much damage does Solar take this time? Because it seems like Solar is the one that takes the most damage, probably has the least fire resistance right now. And still, around 500 damage, it's more than I would like to see, and we probably are in need of a party heal here. I'm thinking that probably is something that Gloria ought to do. So, Elohim, let's just make sure, am I using the right song here? Motivational Rhapsody that decreases all damage from magical attacks by a factor based on Elohim's Spirit. Yeah, it's definitely the one we want. I'm pretty sure that's what we're using. Okay, now, Enhancement. Uh-oh. What is this? +1 Strength? Vitality, Spirit, and Agility. Attack, Defense, Magic Defense. Okay, so it gets a little bit stronger. I think still +1 is not super concerning, but that is perhaps a reason to not bide our time too much here. I think overall, with our Spirit crafting, with Solar plus Elvian, that this is probably still us getting stronger each turn than KARNOS is, especially if we get the high roll there with +8 Spirit. That brings Elvian all the way up to 61. So I think that, Gloria, you are the one who ought to party heal here. Let's do that. And of course, KARNOS has been on its fire form for a while now, so putting on a null fire is something that we could strongly consider doing. It's just that I'm sure as soon as we do it, it's going to switch. At some point in time, it'll probably switch back to fire, so not to say that it's worthless to do that now, but Mardek, let's see, you have given everyone a regen. Do we just go with more water slashes here for more damage? That might be a reasonable option. How are you doing on MP? You're doing fine on MP. Otherwise, we'll throw on more shields, but there is a reason why that might not be a great idea. So let's just go with the damage, I think, on you. 5,000 damage is solid. And we'll do it again on your second turn, I think. Why not? Okay, and it will attack Mardek and miss. That was a reaction, notably. And, oh, Delay Buster, uh-oh. So, Delay Buster is actually a extremely strong ability that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, will remove people's haste. The other thing that we saw was that KARNOS reacted when Mardek hit it with a physical attack, and that reaction was Ether Elemental. That is one of the reasons why boosting your Ether resistance is so important. So, Elobian, let's keep you doing your thing. And Raging Inferno, again, it just keeps on using the Raging Inferno, keeps on staying as Fire Elemental here. And Solar as our test subject. This time taking about 400 rather than 500 HP, so we're making a little bit of progress here. Then we Spirit Craft again, and we'll get there. Basically just trying to get to the point where we are not taking much damage at all from those spells, and then doesn't matter what type of element KARNOS shifts to, we're still okay. And then we can make sure in that case that Mardek can continue to use his offensive abilities, and Gloria, you won't have to be using things like heals and bark skins. We'll have all that stuff set up. And I think at this point, Mardek is the only one who does not have a bark skin. So let's do that. And then Mardek, I think, yeah, just stick with the water slashes here. You could perhaps consider using an MP restoring item on Gloria, because she's starting to get a little bit low, but she's probably still okay in that regard. Yeah, 5,000 damage of basically every attack from Mardek is not bad. So bisection there, 42 damage. That is not bad at all, but that is largely because Mardek has 90% resistance to other damage, and of course we get our reactions as well, so we're taking less damage for that reason. Normally, that attack would have the amount of HP that a character has, so that is why boosting that other resistance is so important, because that means 2 of those reactions, if you get hit by them and you don't have any resistances to other, you don't have any defensive reactions, or your reactions aren't terribly effective, you're going down in 2 hits. So, Mardek, since you have those strong defenses and strong other resistance, should be fine continuing to do this. Even if it does react. Oh, here comes another Raging Inferno. It's rather insistent in that way. You have 400 damage for real this time on Solar. Again, I'm using them as our test subject just to see how much damage are we taking from those attacks, because it seems like we have some people who are taking little to no damage at all, and so Solar is the one that is at most risk, it would seem, at least with regard to the fire damage. So, Eloian, keep on doing your thing. And Delay Buster again. Oh, we do have someone who has haste, don't we? Mardek has haste. That's why you keep on using Delay Buster. Okay. So Mardek, of course, has an item that is giving him haste from the Yellow Fairy. That is why, even if KARNOS is using Delay Buster, Mardek still has the haste, because it's never going to go away as long as Mardek is equipping this item here. Normally, if you were to have used a Speedy Juice to gain your haste, then KARNOS' Delay Buster would have removed that haste. But, like we said, because Mardek is still holding on to the Yellow Fairy, he will always have haste unless someone is able to steal that item from him. So in that case, it's beneficial. Normally, Delay Buster would be one of the strongest abilities that KARNOS would have, but fortunately, we have enough air resistance that it's not too much trouble, and we've also been, of course, boosting our magic defenses as well. So Solar, we can, of course, further boost our magic defenses by further boosting Eloian here. +3 Spirit is still relatively low, but we've been doing this long enough that Eloian's at 67 now. And Gloria, now that you have bark-skinned everyone, and we don't really need to heal at the moment, I'm thinking you can also go with some either damage or a null. And maybe we're at the point now where we have strong enough defenses that we don't feel like we need nulls as much as we once did. So I think, perhaps, although we could put on a nullifier once and avoid taking damage from one of those big fire spells, I think we're probably fine going with a Whirlpool here to maximize our damage. And this does also help in the way that if KARNOS does not shift elements, we don't have to worry about removing all the different types of nulls. You are shifting to Fig right now, and that's an interesting one because, well, Fig, we don't have any Fig resistances, and in fact, Solar in astral form is actually 100% weak to Fig, so that means that we probably want you to switch as soon as possible. In terms of your resistances to other things, though, you are very resistant to Ether, you are 100% resistant to non-elemental damage, you're also 100% resistant to light and dark damage, so that means that Solar is basically incapable of dealing damage right now, which is fine for the moment because Solar is mostly working on boosting Eloian Spirit, so short term that shouldn't be a problem, but if KARNOS stays Fig Elemental for as long as it stayed Fire Elemental, then this could become a bit problematic. It also is no longer weak to water, meaning that if we were to continue to use our water attacks with Mardek and spells with Gloria, then we would not be dealing as much damage as we were before, which would also be a little bit unfortunate. So yes, we probably do want you to shift elements as soon as possible, but not really sure there's much we can do to change that. I will continue to use Water Slash with Mardek because we've at least removed the null water, and you still have nulls of almost everything else here. It is still 3,000 damage, so that's not bad. And the Blood Claw reaction, okay, so that's actually a dark elemental reaction. Again, Ether and Dark, the two elements that you most want to build your resistances to. And so that does mean that Mardek is in need of a Null Dark. Is anyone else? I don't think so. So let's throw on a morality block, at least for Mardek. And KARNOS appears to be at roughly half HP here. Oh, Psycho Wave! Everyone is confused, perhaps? At least most people are, and that was big damage as well. So it dealt a ton of damage to Solar. Other people, we're doing okay from an HP standpoint, but we have, let's see, Mardek is confused, Gloria is confused, looks like Eloian avoided it, and Solar, I think, also did avoid it. But yeah, okay, so Eloian, I think you do stay using this current ability here. We want to minimize spell damage, especially when it's coming from Fig. Delay Buster is air, but it's not as much damage here, so I think that should be, comparatively speaking, preferable. Solar is next, and Solar, you are about half HP, actually, a little less than that. Might it be worth healing here? Because I do think that if KARNOS were to use a Fig Elemental spell next time around, then you would probably go down. Now, we have in the past been using Gloria to heal the group, but I think on this occasion, it's mostly a question of do we Spiritcraft, or do we heal everyone with a Pleasant Sunbeam? What is Eloian looking at for Spirit here? 66. Is still not really as high as I would like that to be. I think long term, we want to boost Eloian Spirit as much as possible, so we should prioritize. What the heck? Oh, Gloria is confused right now. That's why she did that. Right, we probably shouldn't have been relying on Gloria to heal anyone when she was confused. Same with Mardek here. So, Mardek, you were still confused, and fortunately everyone is using their null light there. So Mardek dealt 0 damage, but there is another big elemental attack that does take out Solar, and this time Eloian got confused and attacked Gloria. Here's a Delay Buster, which is supposed to take out Gloria and Eloian. Things are not looking good right now. So, okay, Gloria is back. I think we are in desperate need of a party heal right about now, because things took a dramatic turn for the worse. Who is next, though, is my next question, and the answer is Mardek, and Mardek will go twice, and he is still confused. So one could make the case that it is actually preferable to say, use a remedy on Mardek, so that we know he will not attack us on his next turn. That way, he can use a party heal here, which I don't think is going to be quite as effective, but, I mean, we are in need of it, for sure. Might we be at a stage where we would also want to say, bring Solar back first, and then heal everyone? I think that might be the case. Solar, when we do bring you back, I don't think you're going to be in astral form. You are not. Which, in some ways, is actually preferable at the moment, because that means that at least you have 0% fig resistance rather than minus 200, I think it was before. So, okay. We will heal everyone. No, not regen. Heal everyone. And I'm not sure that's going to get anyone back up to full HP. Maybe will for Mardek. Possibly Solar. Solar also notably lost all of their statuses, so they don't have any nulls at the moment. They don't have any shields, no bark skin, and like we said, no astral form. And Solar did survive, but did get confused. Elvian did not survive. Solar got hit once more, but lost the confusion in the process. So, okay. Yeah, we do not like Fig Elemental Karnos one bit. Not one bit. So, Solar, you can use Resurrect to bring back Elvian, and can we click on her when she is down? We cannot. So, I'm hoping that she sticks with her additional spirit that we spent a long time boosting. I think she will, but I'm not positive. So, let's just look at the turn order here to see who will be doing the healing, because yes, we need another round of healing for sure. So I think that yes, why don't we Resurrect with Solar, and then maybe Gloria does the healing? Because I think, again, you technically will heal for more than Mardek will because you have higher spirit. Let's do this. And we just really want Karnos to switch elements. We could theoretically attack here with Mardek, but I think we probably prioritize, at least on the first turn, we could throw on morality blocks, because I think at least Mardek needs it, or everyone needs it for the light except for Gloria, because Mardek was attacking people. And, well, yeah, let's start with this. And I think next turn we'll heal. Actually, will no light prevent the heal from Mardek? I don't remember. We're about to find out. Let's only heal Solar, because Solar is the one that needs it most, and in case this does just remove the null light, which it may, then we're not removing null light on everyone after we just put it on. No, it does still heal. Okay, good. And more Psycho Waves! Don't like it. Elvian goes down once more, and physical attack fortunately does get nulled, because it's Dark Elemental. So, okay. I mean, we could try to eke out more damage. Gloria and Mardek are the two that are probably most capable of doing that right now, but it feels like right now we are mostly just trying to hang on and wait for Karnos to shift elements to something else here, because this seems like it is far and away more dangerous than we had with the fire elemental stuff. So, Solar, I mean, you could use Phoenix Down instead of your Resurrect ability, because I believe that would save a fair bit of MP. Let's go that route. And we would like to have Elwian alive so that she can use her spells and therefore reduce the amount of spell damage that we take. However, it seems that because Karnos keeps on doing that strong spell, it takes Elwian out before Elwian can get back to using that ability. So I think either we heal here or... yeah, let's heal with Gloria. We'll heal everyone because, yes, once again, everyone needs it. But we know that Elwian does not have enough HP to survive even when she's at full HP. So I think Mardek, we do throw on a magic shield here, specifically for Elwian, in hopes of just having her survive one turn so that she can go back to using her songs. And let's double check. Does she have her high spirit here? She does. Okay, so thank goodness we still have that. So once she does get back to doing that, we should take far less damage from those spells. And Mardek, you could say, try using an attack here and deal a little bit of damage to Karnos. I mean, it still has 36,000 HP, so it would take a while to take it out this way. We would prefer for it to switch to something else. Delay Buster. Okay, this is preferable. Still a lot of damage to Solar, though. I think most of Solar's air resistance was coming from being in astral form before, and of course Solar is not currently in astral form, but still definitely better than Fig Elemental. So now this is the big difference here. We can get Element back to using Runic Rhapsody, reduce the damage from this, and it is enough to keep everyone alive, but we have a lot of confused people once more. Solar attacks Mardek and removes Mardek's confusion. Honestly, Mardek didn't take much damage there. I would say that is one of the best ways to remove the confusion. If that were Mardek attacking someone else, it would have dealt a lot more damage, except for the people who have no light on right now. So, okay, we are once again just scraping by here. So I think we heal everyone with Gloria once more. Big difference was that Elvian stayed alive this time. And Mardek, on your turn, we are gonna want to try to remove some of these confusions, I think. Because, yes, Elvian is alive, but because she's confused, she's not using her song, so functionally, there's not a huge difference here. We are not boosting our defenses the way we would like to be boosting our defenses. So Mardek, we could use a remedy. Okay, we have plenty of those, so I think that's fine. Let's go that route. To use that on... Do we prioritize Solar? Do we prioritize Elvian? I think we maybe do prioritize Elwian on this occasion here, so we want to get her back to using that song. KARNOS will go after this turn here, so we could also remove the status on Solar or heal Solar. I think maybe we do heal Solar here. Mardek's own heal ability, that should be enough to get you, I think, some maximum HP. Yes, for sure. Okay, so KARNOS goes now. What does it do? Shatterclaw. Oh, I missed the reaction. That is the ability. It removes the shields. So, Elwian down once more. Solar attacking themselves. I should not have hit that reaction there. So, Solar does survive that, fortunately, but is no longer confused, notably, so that's nice. But Gloria, Elwian is not up right now, so party heal would, of course, not heal Elwian. So I'm thinking that we probably do want to get Elwian back first, and then do party heal. We could perhaps use a Phoenix Pinion. That would bring her back with full HP rather than just half HP. But if we are going to use a full party heal anyway, then maybe that's not terribly important, but Mardek does go next, and he is confused. So this is a problem. Fortunately, Solar had the null, but Mardek goes again, and is still confused. Opts to attack KARNOS, which is very fortunate, and becomes unconfused in the process, though KARNOS goes next, and this could be problematic. This could be very, very problematic. It shifts to Dark. Oh, thank goodness. Solar went down, but at least now we have a little more confidence that the type of damage that KARNOS is going to deal is not going to immediately cause the entire party to go crazy and, in many cases, one-shot people. So, for that, I am very grateful. Let us use a Phoenix down to bring back... let's look at the turn order here for a second. Mardek comes after, so I don't think it matters much who we resurrect here. I was going to say, if Solar goes next, then maybe we try to resurrect Solar, then Solar can use their resurrect ability, or use a Phoenix down. Let's do this here. Then Mardek, I think you will do the same thing. Use a Phoenix down of your own. Bring back Elwian, and then on your second turn, you will use a party heal. And I'm hoping that what with this being Dark Elemental KARNOS, well, you could say maybe we would actually prefer to throw on a morality block here. Let's try this. Let's try this. It does mean Elwian and Solar are still on low HP, Gloria even to a certain extent, but I think we're expecting dark damage. So the first attack here shouldn't do much of anything. It should be completely null. And we do have some people with dark resistance, in fact, dark healing. Elwian is on that list because she has the Night Jacket. And Solar is, I believe, when not in astral form, 100% resistant to dark, so we actually don't want to go to astral form at the moment with Solar. We want to stay as is. And we can go back to, well, do we want Runic Rhapsody in this situation, or would we actually prefer Solid Sonata? Maybe even Solid Sonata, because the dark elemental spells aren't much of a problem. It's more so physical attacks, I think, that we'd be more concerned about at this stage. Let's go this route, and Blaybuster is air elemental, and so that would still be one thing that could hurt us quite a bit. And yes, that it did. So Solar, I think, could Spearcraft once more. It's been a while since we've done that, and it would further boost Elwian, and that is the primary way that we get out of this loop here, is make it so that we are taking little to no damage from those spells, regardless of what element they are. So that's why I've been prioritizing that before, though at this stage, would we say prefer to make sure that we use a party heal? I think We still have Gloria going next, we do, and then we have Mardek taking 2 turns afterwards, so between Gloria's turn and Mardek's 2 turns, I think we can still get people back up to full HP, so yes, Solar, please Spirit Craft, and hopefully we get to the point, okay, maybe not immediately, but +7 Spirit should help us get to the point where we're taking far less damage. So, Gloria, now you definitely use an Earth Heal. You are getting pretty low on MP, which is concerning. We've been relying on you very heavily through these heals here. And that definitely will not get people up to full HP. Not even close for Solar. But Mardek, if you do a party heal, or maybe, tell you what, do a targeted heal on Solar to heal a little bit more. That way, Solar is not capped, but they're close. So I think now we could say throw back on a morality block. Let's go this route here. Yes, the dark damage, we're not terribly concerned about it, but better to be safe than sorry, I think. We've seen that. Here is a dark spell. That will do precisely nothing. That's good. Just gives us a little more time to further boost Elwian. And Elemental Shift to Ether. Okay, I liked the dark. Not sure what I feel about Ether. Let's take a look. So you are, of course, 200% resistant to Ether damage. You are very weak to Fig. We don't have a way of dealing Fig damage. And, well, we did make a point of boosting our Ether resistances quite a bit. So we have 70% on Elwian, 0 on Solar, though Solar could, of course, go into Astral Form, and then they would heal to Ether, 200%. Gloria, 90%, and then Mardek is at 90% as well, so defensively for us, I think that's okay. In terms of dealing damage to Karnos, it's going to be a little bit tough. We are probably going to want to have Mardek do a lot of light elemental attacks, will be our preferred way of dealing damage. Solar maybe as well, with some light spells. But Elwian, you are not... Oh, you are currently playing the song, yes? What would we prefer between mitigating physical attack damage or spell damage? I think we stick with the attacks. Because it does seem like maybe Ether, we're not super concerned about it. We do want to assume Astral Form here. Of course, this is permanent, unless Solar dies. So, it does mean that if Karnos turns around and goes back to Dark or Light form and suddenly is using a type of damage that Solar is not so resistant to, then that becomes a problem, or Fig. That was the big problem. Okay, so, Gloria. Next, why don't you... Oh yeah, you are quite low on MP here. I think we are not in a desperate state at the moment. So this would perhaps be a good time to restore your MP. And what is your maximum MP? It is 154, so Ether Queens would be a little bit overkill. Normal Ether would be just about right. Let's go that route here. Okay, and then we have both of Mardek's turns, and like I was saying, I think that Mardek's physical attacks are probably the way to go here. We have already removed Karnos's... Have we removed Karnos's null light? I think that lighter colored null circling around its head is air, not light, so we should be good here. Yeah. Decent damage, not quite as much as we were seeing previously. But there you see it. When it comes to Ether damage, not terribly concerned. In high enough resistances, whoa, a crit, okay, that certainly helps. And once again, well, you try to hit us, but you miss, so that's fine. This is your actual turn. And Plasma Breath looks really cool. Dealt some reasonable damage to Elwian, but Solar healed. Here's another Delay Buster. That is actually the type of spell that is perhaps the most dangerous at this stage. Perhaps even worth throwing on some Null Airs with Gloria. But I think that overall we are starting to see that the Spirit Grafts are paying off here. So let's give this one more shot. See where this leaves us. And now Elwian is at 76 Spirit. Okay. Maybe we do throw on a Null Air here for everyone. Just to remove the risk of Delay Buster a little bit. It's not dealing enough damage to be a huge concern, but again, if we just bide our time for one more turn, that means we can boost our defenses a little bit more with one more round of Spirit Crafting. And we can also deal a little bit more damage with Mardek here, and we do not have a Null Dark at the moment. There are still some dark types of damage you can deal, because remember, there are some dark reactions that Karnos has. So for that reason, I think Morality Block on this occasion is actually not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. Okay, so we have those back. Now Mardek goes again. And this time, Eloine is fairly low on HP. I think we do probably want to make sure she stays up, because of course, she is one of the key difference makers here. Once we lose her, our defenses go way down. And yeah, she did take some damage from that, and well, she nulled that. Actually, would have healed that, because that was a dark attack, and she's healing to dark, so in some ways, we would have perhaps preferred if she didn't have the null dark, but just playing it safe for those people who do not have 100% dark resistance. Primarily, I think, Gloria, and to a certain extent, Mardek, we could even consider just throwing on targeted morality blocks on Gloria, though I think Solar needs them as well. Yeah, at least in natural form, Solar does. Okay, so we are using Solid Sonata here. Do we want to shift over Runic Rhapsody for if and when we do get damaged from the delay busters, because that is a spell? Maybe? Let's stick with Solid Sonata for now, I think. Just for now. And then further Spirit Craft, because I do think that a normal attack from Annihilater KARNOS, physical attack, would be enough to one-shot just about anyone. So that is still technically the most dangerous. Just would be against one person rather than the entire party. So, Gloria, we did use Null Air last time round, so in theory, we don't need to use any more of those. Do we want to deal some damage with you, perhaps, in that case? And in that case, what type of damage would that be? Water is one of the elements that we've removed the null on, and it doesn't really matter between fire, water, air, and earth. So, yeah, I think for that reason, we'll go with Whirlpool here. Remember that Gloria does also remove or reduce enemies' attributes a little bit based on the type of element that she does. Well, it's not a lot of damage there. Oh, reaction, elemental shift. Interesting. Shifted based on us attacking KARNOS there, and it went to physical. Physical. So that's another strange one. Does mean that perhaps, well, would we have physical spells? I suppose that is possible, and maybe we would want to shift over to using our spell defense in that case, because we don't have any resistances to this, except for in the case of Solar, who in astral form is completely immune to this. So, Solar, you are pretty safe right now. I'm not sure anyone else is, though. So, I mean, if we could, say, get KARNOS to shift again, I think this is another element that is probably not as dangerous as Fig, but up there in terms of the ones that we did not want KARNOS to change to. So, let's hit you. And the light damage is still doing something, yes. And the other damage that you deal with your reaction is still pretty insignificant, so that's not much of a problem. It's at 22,000 HP or so. Okay. And it does take its actual turn here. And the physical damage, when we have the physical song on from Eloine, you see, is still not bad at all. So that is the reason why that was so critical. Now, are we expecting physical attacks or are we expecting physical spells? I'm not sure. And, I mean, I think that we do go with the spell defense here, because if Annihilater KARNOS were to use a physical spell and hit everyone with it, Solar might be the only one that would survive, and then we are at quite a bit of risk. Because, well, Solar might not be able to bring everyone back in time to be able to pull that one off. If KARNOS, say, immediately shifted back over to Fig and then took out Solar, then we'd be in big trouble. So, Solar, I think we do still Spirit Craft here. +4 is about average, so not great there. We did see that our attacks with Gloria were not terribly effective. Is there anything else we'd like to do? We could proactively put on some other nulls. We do have the null air, so we don't need that, but null earth, if and when KARNOS does shift to earth elemental. Sure. I mean, we're guessing, for sure. But at some point in time, it very well could happen. Then Mardek does seem like you're a primary source of damage here, so let's attack. And it will react, but Mardek is regenning more than as much damage as he takes, and he also leeches more than the amount of damage that KARNOS hits with the reaction, so not a major concern there. That is the reason why we would be concerned about physical attacks. So, in case you were wondering why Eloine is not dead right now, The answer in the first hit is because she has her Survivor defensive reaction, meaning that if she would have gone down, she instead survives with 1 HP. Then on the second one, if KARNOS did land that hit, Eloine would have gone down. However, she has 70% evasion, and for that reason, did manage to evade that second attack there. So, defensive reactions coming up clutch for Eloine there. And is that reason to switch over to Solid Sonata? Perhaps, but I think I still want to stick with Runic Rhapsody, because worst comes to worst, physical attack takes out one person, not the entire party, whereas spells can target multiple people, and that is far more dangerous, so I think we stick with this. Then that means Solar, keep on Spirit Crafting. How are you doing on MP? You're doing okay. Spirit Craft doesn't cost too much, and I'm pretty sure that I accidentally used something other than Spirit Craft there, because I did not see Eloine Spirit go up, so my bad in that case, but at 83 Spirit, we are getting close to maximizing the amount of damage reduction here. Now, Eloine is, of course, at 1 HP, and therefore does very much need to get healed right now, otherwise she can go down, so let's make sure we use a heal here. She is the only one who needs it, so perhaps we could have used just a targeted heal with Mardek. Mardek is our primary source of damage right now, so I think we would rather free him up to do some of this. And KARNOS, at this point, is getting low enough on HP that if it were to shift to an element that we are capable of dealing a little bit more damage to, that might be just the opportunity we're looking for. Unfortunately, you missed that time. And if you attack Mardek, that's, I suppose, fine as well. So Eloine, yeah, keep on doing what you're doing right now. And Solar, we will actually use the skill that I meant to use. I might have used Purify accidentally last time. Here's a Spirit Craft, +6. That will definitely help. At this point in time, any additional spirit that Eloine gets, I think we're at the point where it means the amount of damage we are taking is going to go significantly lower. It should be very, very little damage from any spells at this point. So that means that Gloria, I mean, you could throw on more nulls, but we are pretty safe from those right now. So this might be a good opportunity to say, take a look at our MP and see if there's anyone who needs to restore that. Look at Eloine's MP right now. Yeah, that's what comes with you having 89 spirit. Huge MP. So, Gloria, you could perhaps use a Whirlpool just for the sake of lowering KARNOS' spirit a little bit more, and in some ways that is another defensive mechanism. A little bit more damage here as well, I think. This time, oh no, it's shifting to Fig. Oh no. Oh no. I do not like that. One bit. Not one bit. Okay, so, fortunately, we have the spell song on right now, and Eloine's spirit is high enough at this point that we should be taking far less damage than we were taking before, but Solar is still quite vulnerable in astral form because, well, still 100% weakness to Fig. So, Mardek, actually, how do we do in terms of light damage? Well, it's bad. It's bad. So that would mean you want to go back to water damage if we were trying to prioritize the damage here. Otherwise, we could also, I think we probably do want to heal Eloine, because when KARNOS was in the Fig form last time, he was capable of taking out Solar very easily, but Eloine as well, and that was one of the things that kept us stuck in a bit of a cycle there, where Eloine went down, we didn't have enough defenses to not go down to future big elemental spells, so I think it's important to have her at max HP just to be safe, and then we'll use a Water Slash here. Nope, not fire. Water. The damage is still okay. Not enough MP. What? Did it run out of MP? Perhaps. Did we win the War of Attrition here? Possibly. So Eloine, I think you keep on doing your thing here. Solar, you'll keep on Spirit Crafting. And we are at the point now where I believe Eloine should be at just about 100. 97 spirit. 100 is the cap, and at 100, I believe we are guaranteed to take 0 damage from spells, so we are quite safe. Quite safe right now. This is perhaps the moment we were waiting for. It means we can get far more aggressive and now use Whirlpool. Deal damage this way. And KARNOS is getting fairly low on the HP. It's shifting to light, which is okay. It does mean that Mardek should be fairly safe. Solar is actually the most vulnerable because they have no resistance to light here, at least while they're in astral form. Gloria also not looking great, and Elwian also not looking great, so this is not one of our preferred elements either. Probably would prefer for you to be fire, water, earth, or air. And so if you could go back to being fire all the time, that would be fantastic, but we're close enough at this point that maybe we can still pull this off. And of course that means if you're light elemental, we do not want to use Mardek's default light elemental attack. That would be a very bad idea. I don't think we have any sources of dark damage at the moment, so that's also a bit unfortunate, but we should be able to, say, go with more water slashes here. And we're close enough that just a few more of those, and KARNOS will go down. Of course, Mardek goes twice. That means we draw closer still. KARNOS, bisection, misses. That's fine. And yes, a normal attack. Those are kind of dangerous. Just not against Solar, so you can do those to Solar all you want. And then Elwian, yeah, I think you keep on using the spell song here. Then Solar, you can Spirit Graph one more time, and that means that Elwian will be guaranteed to be at maximum Spirit here. So we should take quite literally 0 damage from spells now. So that's huge. Then Gloria, the Whirlpool. And then after that, oh, you shift to Earth. Okay, well, we did put on the Null Earth a while ago, anticipating this moment that it might arrive, and well, it does mean that KARNOS' next attack is not going to hurt us in all likelihood. It also means that KARNOS is now weak to air, and Mardek, make it happen. Oh, it still has the Null. Hold on. Null down. First try. Annihilator KARNOS down. Our first super boss, and yes, as you can see, quite a bit more difficult than any other enemy that we have fought previously. We did take a very slow and steady defensive approach, and for that reason, it did take us longer than perhaps it would normally take you if you had gone a more aggressive offensive approach, but as you saw there, when it went into pig form, that was extremely dangerous, and one false move and you could have gone down for sure. So we get a Dreamstone, we get a Scarab of Fury, we also get a Guardian Claw, we'll have to check that out, and a Phoenix Pinion, and KARNOS, the boss of the Miasmal Citadel, is down. So, let's take a quick look at what we picked up there. We got the Guardian Claw, and you may remember me saying that one of the people who was suffering the most from us doing our arena runs before completing the Miasmal Citadel was Solar, and you may have noticed me mention at the beginning of this fight that Solar's weapon is not terribly strong. The reason for that is because we have not been using Solar's strongest claw. This is that weapon. So this Guardian Claw here, it's a powerful claw weapon designed for a mighty guardian, which is also fitting for Solar. It gives the Galaxy Burst active ability, as well as a magic offensive reaction for plus 30% damage. That's pretty great, and also plus 20% light damage. Also fantastic. And then 5% crit chance, 100 MP, that's a nice little bonus, plus 3 strength, and spirit also will boost the effectiveness of Solar's physical and magical abilities. And the empowers light 50%, I mean, if that worked, that would be a lot, but it doesn't, so it's a nice little gesture, but that's about it. So, all that being said, that is one big boss down. So, there are many ways in which you can, of course, approach that fight there. We went for the slow, steady defensive approach. You could perhaps opt to go with a more offensive approach there. Just make sure that you prioritize your elemental resistances, mostly Ether, but to a certain extent, you need to have any and all resistances that you can pick up, because you might find that KARNOS switches to an element that you don't have any resistances to. You might even be weak to that element, and then suddenly you could be in a lot of trouble. As for what we have next, I think unfortunately we may need to part ways with that yellow fairy, because we of course did not actually complete the quest to return all the fairies, and that is one of the few things remaining on our list at this point, so I'll catch you next time.